Briefly talk about your organization, Run with Kenyans, and what exactly does it mean to run with Kenyans? Wahome.
Right. So really, as the name says, Run with Kenyans, the elevated pitch of it is we're taking this goodwill that's generated by Kenyan runners and saying, what is it that we can do with it, right? Can we promote other things Kenyan, right, around this major sustainable goodwill that's generated by Kenyans? What I'm saying is, and this is kind of like to help people understand it, I tell myself like this, right? During the Boston Marathon, that scenario that I described, right, where we're at this marathon village, people are excited and wearing all these t-shirts with Kenyan flags, even though they've never been to Kenya, right? If you paint a rock, at that point, you paint a rock, the Kenyan color, the colors of the Kenyan flag, it's a good chance you're going to be able to sell that rock. That's just how huge the brand Kenya is if you wrap it around these runners. So what we did with Run with Kenyans, we came up with a couple things that we can do around that. And by the way, this is speaking of brand Kenya. This was on the heels of also the new constitution, if you guys remember, 2010, and then they created brand Kenya. You know, we try to reach out and present all these proposals to all those people. Like, you know, you really want a way to market Kenya? Here's how you do it. This, like, you get free publicity. And not only that, these runners are winning in every city after every city. So it's like worldwide. It's almost at any given time, you can count on a Kenyan planting a Kenyan flag somewhere. Why don't you go to these places, start with the major marathons, and see what type of events you can host around that, so that way you're spreading a larger Kenyan message, right? So for us, we said we can promote tourism, and we came up with this like very niche tourist product called running safaris. So this is where you're targeting people that kind of would like to go to Kenya, but they're kind of on the fence. But the fact that they like running, if you introduce that to the mix, you're not just going to Kenya, but you're gonna go over there. You get to meet the top runners. You'll get to be running with them. You get up in this routine that's created for you, Kenyan style, right? You get to attend clinics presented by known Kenyan voices. And there's as you learn about this, especially up in the 10, the running, it's a real culture. It's just unbelievable. It's a mecca of running. As it is, people actually just go. People who are hardcore runners, they find a way of getting there all by themselves. And there's places that have come up, like lodges and these housing units, just specifically catering for that. So all we were doing really is kind of like acting as middle people and being at these marathons and saying, look, we can create a package for you where you go to Kenya. You're not just gonna do the Masai Mara. You're not just gonna do the Amboseli and whatnot. You also get to go to E10, right? And in E10, you just randomly bumping into these like world record holders. It's insane. The amount of talent that Kenya has is unbelievable. So that was number one. And then we said we can also promote other things that Kenya has been trying to sell and is known for: coffee, tea, all these conferencing facilities. I think Kenya Conference was trying to market themselves at that time. The best way to do that, we will tell these people, is during these marathons, during these running events where we know people are just particularly keyed in to anything that has any affiliation with Kenya. So really that was the idea of Run with Kenyans. We're going to take what we already have. It's almost this God gift to Kenya. And no one else has that. Ethiopia is a close second, but they don't have it the way we do. And we love Ethiopians, right? We're going to take this thing and say, let's think of ways to make the most out of it. Kenya could use a lot of good PR. Kenya could use a lot of marketing. Let's see what we can do around it, running. To me, every time Nikki land, what's it called, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, every time I land there, the thing that really pisses me off a lot is how they got all those animals lined up, what elephant, whatnot. That's cute, right? But imagine, we're talking about Henry Ronald tonight. Imagine if you land there and you've got this like assemblage of all these runners from like way back. All these runners. It's that's kind of like what we need to see. Animals, they're cute, but
wow, Wahome, what you're saying is quite interesting. 2 weeks ago, we hosted a Black American who lives in Kenya and brought up this issue of where, like our tourism promotion is so focused on wildlife. Yet we have, like maybe even 100 other avenues that we can promote about Kenya that's outside wildlife. And what you have suggested is just so spectacular. When you get to Kenya, the first thing that you see, instead of seeing, like an elephant, we love elephants, like we love the buffaloes and everything, but the first thing that you're seeing is, like a statue of Eliud Kipchoge, or even of the late Kelvin Kiptum, and of these legends who date back from as far back in the 60s, where other countries would spoil for choice, would pay so much money to have just half of what Kenya has, yet it seems to be taken for granted. So that's quite interesting, and I think it's something that really needs deep thinking, especially now when you talk about tourism in the light of athletics. Maybe let's even have a Hall of Fame, an athletics Hall of Fame.
I think we should.
A museum, because we are spoiled for choice. Kelvin Kiptum, he came like a thunderclap from nowhere, and just ran that one London Marathon and then came back and just broke the world record. Like people were talking about, when will Eliud Kipchoge, beat the 2-hour mark? Here we have Kelvin Kiptum out of nowhere, and he's not even done like track and field. I'm not aware of any track and field he did. So he's just one of those people who came quick and he also left quick, and God has a reason why that happened. I can see a couple of comments coming in here. I first want to welcome Indefatigable Wanjeri. I see, Massachusetts is in the building. I can see also Brown Sugar. Brown Sugar is in the building. Brown Sugar anatag watu wengine hapo. And then Pablo is saying, I'm lost somewhere. So does Run with Kenya scout for talent or highlight Kenyan athletes? I'm going to let you, Ahome, answer that.
Yeah, we don't. We don't do I think the talent management, we don't do that. You can think of it more, it's more of marketing. It's more of branding, right? So if you want to, if you're a private company, this is what we particularly tell, like, if you're a US company, say you sell shoes, you sell anything that's athletic related, we tell them like, look, you can't compete with Nike for airtime. You can't compete with Adidas. But you know what? We have this event that we're hosting, and we'll have the elite Kenyan runners in attendance, right? Maybe that's your chance to like get a little, piece of this. So we're more of a marketing, sports marketing type of organization, not necessarily talent management. Also, at the core, we started this because we love Kenya, we love Kenyan athletes, and we want to. I don't know if you guys remember, but it used to be something like we almost were, I don't want to say embarrassed of, but we really didn't talk about running like it was cool. Like, let's be honest, when growing up, rugby, running, like it was like, whatever, So it's also like making that be like, this is cool, this is us, it's special, let's embrace it, let's wrap that flag around our backs, and let's big up these runners. They're ours, they're our people.
And the other point that you bring up is that people never used to talk about, we took it so for granted. We have these other big events like rugby where so many people go. We have so many other events out here in the diaspora where we have so many people going. We have these marathons that we constantly keep winning. But it's still been a trickle. you know, and we're trying to figure out a way of getting Kenyans to go there, and maybe, you know, like this event run with Kenyans might be, or rather this dinner with champions in Boston might be a gateway for Kenyans to start getting into the marathons. Kenyans love sports. On the weekends, you'll find people in different groups, you know, like watching soccer, watching rugby. The unfortunate part is when there are Kenyans running, you know, it's very rare, even in the sports groups, you know, and this is a challenge that I give to a lot of guys. Is the basic structure and which is not.